This is the Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin'.
He's throwing it towards Thornton, left corner of the end zone, caught, touchdown New England.
The Patriots Pregame Show is your source for all the news and information before every game.
He took it to the house again.
Here we
the
go.
Patriots take the lead.
Patriots Nation, welcome to the Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin'.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin'. Matt Smith, Deuce, myself, Kwani Lunis. We're here. It's week 3. The Patriots looking to hopefully get 2 in a row against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're here at Gillette Stadium, where they'll also be playing. And you, I'm sure you're excited. Got the throwback uniforms as well.
You gotta represent throwback game. We'll throw back to the 80s, and love it. Love the red uniforms. I know that gets the fans going. So yeah, hey, throwback
How do you
day.
feel about uniforms?
I love the throwback.
Yeah.
I love the new ones, not so much, but the throwbacks, love it. And I do think we should make a quick little mention here, Kwani, our amigo, PFW Paul,
Yes.
in transit.
For the record,
In transit.
he is not bailing on us today.
Right,
He's just
he
on
will
his
be
way.
here later. So they needed somebody for an opener. So
Pinch-hitting Matt.
I got loose even with shoulder surgery a couple weeks ago.
I was gonna say.
Did some long toss, and then did a couple more. But I think I might be able to get a couple innings. Our Garrett Crochet is coming in very soon.
Well
Very
done.
Soon. Very
Thank
soon.
God.
Well done. All right, we're going to talk about all of that, and this whole hour we're going to spend obviously focusing on the Steelers matchup. But first, let's talk about Drake May. We obviously last week, they're coming off of a huge divisional win against the Dolphins, but he looked very poised in the pocket versus Miami. Not the perfect game, but still more comfortable than he did in week 1. What are some tangible takeaways from you two for him as he faces this Steelers defense that's also figuring out what they want to do this year?
Yeah, I'd start with just getting a win on the road against a tough divisional opponent. And look, everybody's talked about how hard it is to win down there, how hard it was to beat Tua Tagovailoa.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'd start there with just the confidence that he's going to get from a victory off of that. Paul and I debated this week, was this the, defining game of Drake May's career? Look, it was a great game, but I think, they didn't do a ton in the second half. So I think there's still, meat on the bone, still a ways for Drake to go. But I think it was a great game for his development last week, and hopefully he can carry that confidence over into this week against a very tough Steelers defense that I think is going to throw some new challenges at him.
And I think most Drake observers would agree that last week was his best game as a professional.
Absolutely.
From start to finish. Not perfect, but it was his best game. He hasn't played many, so the bar's a little low, okay? Now we need to see him build on that, okay? And we need to see him, as many coaches like to say, let's start stringing him together. And I think one of the best ways they can do that to help him string it together is, again, have success on the ground. They need to remain balanced. That was one of the keys to last week's win. I think everybody recognized that. Through 2 games, the Steelers' defense has been pretty leaky against the run. Would be surprised to see a heavy dose trying to come out to see if they can establish that so they can get Dre feeling comfortable and maybe get a little play action in that boot game going.
Yeah, and to your point, though, why is it so important for them to get on the ground early, especially knowing this pass rush is going to be eyeing Drake May, and we need to protect him as much as we can?
Well, Mike, isn't the old adage with these pass rushers, and I'll go back to Taylor, even though it's probably not a great example in Lawrence Taylor, don't you run at those guys?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you try to do? Let's see what you can handle it. Let's press the action against TJ Watt and see what can happen, and try to run at those guys and see if you can neutralize them that way. That would be something I would look for, I would think, kind of early on in the game.
Yeah, the only thing in the back of my mind, though, is every time Josh McDaniels went up against this Pittsburgh team, it's an aerial assault.
Yeah.
And, go back to the 04 AFC Championship game, famous one, where they just go out throwing and trying to use Pittsburgh's aggressiveness against them with, misdirection. Totally agree with Matt. They got to stay balanced. Last week, even when they weren't producing big, explosive running plays, they were staying committed to it. And I think that was ultimately part of why they were able to have, some success and stay balanced that they didn't do in week 1. So it's going to be an interesting game, I think, in terms of the schematics of it all.
And that's the rub, a little bit, because I think any coach would tell you that if we can play from ahead, it's going to help us out tremendously. And I think even though they gave up the lead last week, I think the way that they came out fast, started early, getting 2 scores on the board despite missing the 2 point after attempts, that gives them a better chance of trying to play the game the way they want to play the game, and they can dictate it as opposed to Pittsburgh dictating it. I think they're going to want to try to do that again today.
And another thing I appreciate, I was watching Patriots Unfiltered this week, and you had a conversation with Garrett Bradbury, the center, about the offensive line, and he mentioned how Mike Vrabel, because I did a little bias, his son played O-line as well, but he's in those rooms, in those meetings. But what are you hoping that this O-line will do to readjust for Pittsburgh?
Well, I mean, continue on the track that they've been on. That's one of the underrated parts of this season so far. We spent the last couple seasons absolutely beside ourselves about the protection, and rightly so. They were really leaky. Now, has it been perfect so far? Not really. They're about, middle of the league, but I think everyone will take middle of the league right now. Challenges just keep coming, though. Every week there's going to be a good pass rusher. This week it's TJ Watt. Somehow doesn't have a sack yet. He's still been really effective with the amount of pressure he's been able to get. Without Alex Highsmith on the other side of it, maybe they're able to give him a little bit more attention. But, overall, I think it's going to be about trying to attack these guys and stay mistake-free. I think that's the big thing from Drake, is just avoiding those big turnovers, especially down the stretch. They had a chance to maybe to clinch it last week, put the game away. They weren't quite able to. That's the next step for me. Fourth quarter, close games out, holding the ball.
Sure. Kwani, I would ask you, and you saw in the aftermath of the win last week, there's a lot of people who were getting flowers. I think, to Mike's point, very underrated is the two kids that were over on the left side. You didn't hear their name, except for pre-snap penalties, and they got to clean that up. But there weren't breakaway rushes. They weren't, runaway trains coming in at them. I think those guys, they've got to play them. It's not going to be perfect, but I think they've shown so far it's got to be encouraging for the coaching staff and for the growth of the team that those guys have been pretty good. They've just got to continue to improve along the way.
Yeah, just highlight Matt mentioning penalties, too.
Yeah.
They've got the second most penalties in
Those
the league right now.
false starts were
The false start, the self-inflicted ones. I mean, I think last week you had a referee unit that was calling it really tight.
They were really
both ways,
as we said during the game.
So they've got to be cleaner. They've got to be better with that stuff, because those self-inflicted mistakes add up, and pretty soon you're in long yardage. We saw it with the Dolphins going against them. Their penalties on the final drives that ultimately cost them a chance to really have get in that game right at the end. So clean up the penalties today, big.
And I don't think Hard Rock Stadium is exactly mile high from a fan noise perspective. But being here at home, I would help that a little bit, from a noise perspective.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's 4-22 since 2022. They have the worst home record in the league. Mike Vrabel, the players talked all week about making this a home field advantage again, making it a place that's tough to play. Got a good opportunity here against the Steelers team today.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about a lot of the other keys that they'll need for this game. But before we do that, we want to hear a word from our sponsor of this show, of course, Dunkin'. Okay, let's talk value. You just got a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, hash browns, and a coffee for $6. And yeah, it's as good as it sounds. Order now only at Dunkin'. No substitutions. Participation and times may vary. Offer price varies in California and Hawaii. Limited time offer. Cannot be combined with any other offers. Exclusions and terms apply. All right, let's get into the keys of the game.
Before we really get...
You've waited all week for it.
The whole team's in the locker room right now just listening to this, waiting to hear what you're going to say.
Here are this week's keys to the game.
Sorry, I didn't tell you. I'm the captain now, Matt.
You are the captain.
Did you want to say something, though?
No, the one thing I just wanted to get out before we drill deeper into this game, which is obviously very important, but I wanted to give a shout out to the organization yesterday for anybody that had an opportunity to be at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It spanned old and new, generationally across the day. And, the Crafts and every other owner are in this to win football games. That's the most important thing. And they've got 6 Super Bowl trophies on their resume. That's tremendous. But sometimes you can't control whether or not you win or lose the game. What you can control is the culture and the atmosphere and the foundation that your organization is built on. And Mike, I know you're out and, enjoying it in the audience a little bit yesterday. It was a spectacular event. From Bill Parcells, who's 80-something years old, coming back into the womb and being recognized for his greatness, to Julian Edelman, one of the toughest players in Patriot history. It was a great event, and I think everybody who was there kind of got the feels like, wow, this is really, really cool. And so hats off to the organization. It was a great event yesterday.
Were you there for the Patriots.com exclusive interview with Parcells?
Well, we're going to get...
I want to make sure we push to that as well.
We're going to bump that up maybe a little bit in the post-game show, but I would encourage fans to know that the boss man, Fred Kirsch, and I had the absolute privilege and pleasure to do a podcast with Coach Parcells yesterday, Pats from the Past. We had a special guest interrupt him as well. So that's going to be coming later in the week, and I would encourage Patriot fans who are historians and who love the history of the franchise, you're going to want to tune into that.
That's a good TV tease.
Yeah,
we'll make sure we stick around for that.
He's a professional. Felt a little cathartic to me yesterday. For those of us who lived through the 90s, I mean, in my opinion, you can't tell the story of the New England Patriots without talking about Bill Parcells. And that was reinforced yesterday with the impact that he had, guys like Teddy Johnson telling stories about the personal relationships that Bill Parcells built with his players. I also love that he pointed out he was here in 1980, which I wrote an article this year. If you get to the game, check out the Game Day magazine right in the back. Not a lot of people realize that Bill Parcells was here in 1980. Talked to Steve Nelson about him, said he was the best coach he's ever had. And it was really cool to me to hear about how foundational that experience was for Bill Parcells, to say that he went on then and looked at, cornerbacks, and they compared him to, Raymond Claiborne and Mike Haynes. And that was always the comparison that he made. So for me, it was just really cool to remind people that it wasn't just about that stint he had here in the 90s when he came and really instilled energy and life into this franchise. Credibility. Felt like we had a real NFL team again, but it was also part of the impact that this place made on him when he first got here.
Yep. Nice to see.
Cool stuff.
Yep.
So, and Jules, what can you say? I mean, just embodies it all. I was in the throes of bloggerdom when he came about, made it. I mean, hopped right in week 2. I remember him. Welker was out against the Jets, and here's Julian Edelman. And, great example of just a guy who had to stick around and battle. I mean, he wasn't Julian Edelman until 2013. He'd been 4 years in the league before he really became that guy. Super Bowl hero, clutch performer, tone setter. What else can you say about Julian?
One more shameless plug on that. If you weren't able to get down here to Foxborough yesterday to catch the ceremony live, it's on Patriots.com and on our YouTube channel. I would encourage Patriot fans to watch it. It was a really, really special event.
Speaking of Julian Edelman being the hard-hitting player that he was, though, my claim to fame, NFL Network did a story on just his resiliency in one season, and I asked him a question about Matt Slater saying, "You're Lazarus, you came back from the dead." So my voice got to make it in that documentary, but also just
I thought I heard you.
Right.
I was like, is
you're like, that voice sounds familiar. But his grit when it came to football was just unmatched for sure. Hello there. All right, we actually need to get into our keys into the game, but should
we'll
go behind enemy lines instead.
Absolutely.
we don't want to reveal our keys to the game
I
to
know.
someone from
To the
Pittsburgh.
enemy.
And he's gonna go tell everyone.
Yeah, he might be wired into going right to the Steelers locker room.
Exactly.
Talk to Coach Tomlin.
Brian Batko, thank you for being here with us.
Yeah,
Hopefully I
thanks
did
for
not
having
butcher
me.
your last name. Did I say
No,
it
you got
correctly?
it.
Oh, perfect.
Exactly. Yeah, it's an easy one. No surprises there.
Thanks
so.
for stopping by.
Sure thing.
So, Brian, just to kick it off, I mean, 2 weeks, where do you see the Steelers at right now after these first couple games?
They're still trying to find themselves, especially defensively. There have been some weaknesses exploited, I think, on both sides of the ball, but especially this well-compensated, highly paid, big-name defense that was supposed to really set the tone for this entire team in transition on offense. They have not done that. They were a little lucky that their offense propped them up week 1 against the Jets, and, there was no complimentary football played last week in the loss to the Seahawks. Even special teams hurt them. So that is the side of the ball that I think all eyes are on right now in Pittsburgh.
We're talking about one of the best coaches in the National Football League and Mike Tomlin. Do you get a sense, it's only a 2-game sample, Brian, is there frustration, or is it, hey, this is a work in progress? I trust these guys. I mean, we're talking about one of the best defensive players in the league in TJ Watt. Is it just trying to work on things like technique and make sure that people are doing their jobs and not trying to do too much, because you know that the horses are really there, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, on paper at least.
Right.
If this is suddenly the year that TJ Watt and Jalen Ramsey and Cam Hayward are going to fall off a cliff altogether, then that's going to be a really bad formula, obviously, for the group they've assembled. But to answer your question, I think if there's frustration there, I think they're doing a pretty good job masking it. And I think it's partly because he's been in his seat as long as he has. A lot of these players have been around and seen so much in the NFL that they aren't panicking. And now there's a lot of panic within the fan base, because you go back to the end of last season, which ended on a 5-game slide, including the wild card playoff loss up in Baltimore, where they just got ran all over by Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. But what's interesting to me is, even though these are persistent issues from last year to this year, I think if you're the Steelers, you can argue, hey, we're a new team. It was a new slate this year. Yes, there's continuity. There always is with this franchise. But we also did bring in some new pieces. And these guys are also trying to kind of figure out how to play together. So I think they would want the fans to just say, hey, it's okay. It's 2 games. It's not a 7-game sample size, because last season was last season and this season is this season.
I mean, one of those new players, Aaron Rodgers, what's the experience been like for you watching him come in, getting a chance to watch him up close in camp and now into the season?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been pretty surreal seeing him in a Steelers jersey, and not just that, but even walking the grounds at St. Vincent College in Latrobe, PA for training camp. It was kind of wild just to see him out there. Certainly not something any of us ever thought we would see, but he's been, I think, a pretty low-key leader for this team, and I think it's been a good presence that the Steelers haven't had offensively since Ben Roethlisberger were tired. They went with Mitch Trubisky as a quick stopgap. I don't think he really felt comfortable being that guy necessarily, even though he had the C on his chest. Kenny Pickett was a young player coming in, was still trying to find his way in the NFL. And even last year, Russell Wilson, really good leader and has been around and won a Super Bowl. Justin Fields, though, was in the picture. I think there was a little bit of tension, not necessarily between those two, but both guys knew that it was sort of a prove-it situation for them. And I think it was difficult for either one to really take the bull by the horns that way. But Rodgers, he's the unquestioned veteran presence on this team. And I think it's good for a lot of young players on this offense, too, to have somebody who's won at the highest level, is going to wear a gold jacket, and can kind of hold them accountable while at the same time being one of the guys and forming those natural bonds between teammates.
I think. Sorry, go ahead, Kwani.
I'm just saying on the quarterback side of the ball, it's so interesting when you have a very well-seasoned vet like Aaron Rodgers, and of course Drake May in his second year, saying that he grew up watching an Aaron Rodgers type. But what do you think defensively? We talk about the pass rush for TJ Watt. What exactly will they be looking for when it comes to the fact that he is such a still new player? Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy, Kwani. Not only did he grow up watching Aaron Rodgers, so did a lot of his Steelers teammates. Mike Vrabel, he played against Mike Vrabel as a player.
Exactly.
So when you start getting into the longevity of Aaron Rodgers, there are a lot of just amazing, I guess, stats and anecdotes that you can bring up. But yeah, I mean, you look at week one, they really had trouble containing Justin Fields with his mobility, and that's something that they see twice a year, every year in their division, right, with Lamar Jackson. So they should have a better plan now for athletic running quarterbacks, but it puts a lot of stress on a defense, and I think that to me is probably the biggest key for the Steelers defense that I highlighted for us in our coverage at the Post Gazette this week is, if you can keep Drake May in the pocket and maybe consider, okay, Jalen Ramsey can win a one-on-one matchup with Kayshon Boutte, or we can kind of take away these Patriots receivers, but if you let him get out of the pocket and start extending plays, ad-libbing, and now you're asking these DBs to really plaster and cover their man for an extra second, 2 or 3, that's where I think May can really hurt them. So I'll be watching that matchup closely for sure.
As a longtime Steeler follower, for people who know the Steelers and watch the Steelers organizations, one of the great organizations in the NFL, stability the key. This was an interesting offseason that seemed very un-Steeler-like. The trade for Metcalf, looking again for the quarterback to try to, can this guy get us over the hump? Ramsey going out and getting him. As you sat there close by and seeing it, what were your thoughts as they were assembling this 2025 team, Brian?
And, they trade away Minkah Fitzpatrick, who was kind of a pillar of the defense and the organization. So, yeah, I mean, I think it does speak to the impatience or the urgency for them to win their first playoff game in 8 years. They keep getting into the dance, which, of course, is the first step, but they just haven't been able to get over that hump and elevate, really, whether it was the end of the Ben Roethlisberger era or these new quarterbacks that they've tried in there. So, yeah, I think that they're shuffling up the roster. They're bringing in some new personnel. They're seeing if it can click. But ultimately, I think everybody in the organization knows we're not going to necessarily be able to get to where we want to go until we figure out the quarterback position. And Aaron Rodgers is pretty darn good stopgap solution, especially at the salary they got him at for 1 year. But I think what they're trying to do is, from a front office perspective, let's accumulate a lot of draft capital, give us flexibility if we want to go attack this next year's quarterback class in the draft.
Buy a little time.
Right. And in the meantime, still put a good product on the field for Mike Tomlin to coach up and, bridge, kind of find the right balance and thread that needle between being competitive now, but ultimately having a long-term vision.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for your time. We actually just sent the email to Vrabel with everything you just said, so I hope it'll help the team today.
There we go.
Before you go, though, where can we find you online?
Just my name, BrianBatko on X, and post-gazette.com/Steelers. We've got all our coverage there, so it should be a fun game.
Thank you so much.
You got a pick?
Yeah.
You got a pick?
Oh, yeah, what's your pick?
I picked the Steelers, but I've been telling everybody all week, I think it's a coin flip game. I mean, I could see this one going either way, and I picked them by a point. So that was as close as I could get to just throwing my hands up and saying I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
Thanks for stopping
Thanks
by.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Brian. Appreciate it.
All right, I know our viewers are probably mad because we did this all out of order, and now we're going to actually have to go to a break. So stick around because, of course, you're going to want to get to the keys of the game. But before we do that, I want a quick word from our sponsors. Patriots Pregame Show, as you may know, is sponsored by the Massachusetts 250 campaign, commemorating a history of possibility. You can plan your revolutionary weekend at Massachusetts250.org. And one more before we go. Based right here in New England, Brunt Workwear makes work boots and apparel that are built for the job site. Their gear is comfortable, durable, and named after the real workers in the trades that help design it. You can even try Brunt out on the job, and if it doesn't blow you away, they'll actually just let you send it back. You can save $10 on your first order at bruntworkwear.com/Pats or use the coupon code PATS. We'll be right back.
Without good blocking, your team's not going anywhere. Cisco blocks cyber attacks for customers around the world, including the entire Fortune 100 and the NFL. Because when the game is on the line, and it's always on the line, the NFL relies on Cisco.
It ain't my dad's razor, Dad.
Hey, watch it.
It's from Gillette Labs. This green bar releases trapped hairs from my face.
Game changer.
While the Flex Disc contours to it, so the 5 blades can get virtually every hair in one stroke. For the ultimate Gillette shaving experience,
The best a man can get
is Gillette Labs.
In one moment, it can all be taken away from you, whether by nature's destructive force or something just as sudden and unforgiving. When everything changes, you look for something to hold on to. You can't undo the past, but you can choose what happens next. I'm pro quarterback Josh Dobbs. My passion for design and construction is showing me how Autodesk's design and make platform is supporting LA's recovery after the wildfire. This is where healing starts.
Without good blocking, your team's not going anywhere. Cisco blocks cyber attacks for customers around the world, including the entire Fortune 100 and the NFL.
If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right.
DraftKings is all about responsible gaming. It's more fun when it's for fun. So play responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction.
Gillette shaving experience.
The best a man can get
is Gillette Labs.
In one moment, it can all be taken away from you, whether by nature's destructive force or something just as sudden and unforgiving. When everything changes, you look for something to hold on to. You can't undo the past, but you can choose what happens next. I'm pro quarterback Josh Dobbs. My passion for design and construction is showing me how Autodesk's design and make platform is supporting LA's recovery after the wildfires. This is where healing starts.
Without good
popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Join the show by calling in at 855-PATS-500 or email at podcast@patriots.com. Now, back to the Patriots pregame show fueled by Dunkin'.
Welcome back to the show. Matt Smith, Deuce, myself, Kwani. We're all here excited for this Week 3 matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we're going to finally get into the keys of the game. So let's hear that sound cue one more time.
You've waited all week for it.
The whole team's in the locker room right now just listening to this, waiting to hear what you're going to say.
Here are this week's keys to the game.
Gotta say, the sound of those keys are kind of weak. They gotta put more keys on that.
More
that
jingle jangle?
key. Yeah, more jingle jangle.
All right. We'll work at that. We'll effort that for you.
Thank you. All right, who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Just I think I can, piggyback a little bit on what Brian was saying.
Thank you.
And what was my key? How did I phrase it?
What was your key?
Oh, beat the blitz. Yeah. So really think this is an interesting game to me. Drake May has seen a ton of zone coverage over the first couple games. He's the third most zone coverage. So teams are doing exactly what Brian was concerned about. Sitting back, keeping eyes on the quarterback, not letting him run. But Steelers play a lot of man. They play the 6th most man coverage, and they have the 3rd highest blitz rate. So it's a little bit of a different matchup, I think, for Drake today. I think he's going to have to deal with some pressure. I think they're going to try to heat him up a little bit. I like what our guest Brian was saying because that gives some argument for maybe playing more zone coverage, which I think Drake has looked pretty good against. But if the Steelers do what the Steelers do, they're going to play man. They're going to send blitzers, and Drake's going to have to be able to, identify the protection. That was an issue that we had last week. He was able to, scoot around and get a touchdown out of it, but you had a free rusher coming in, able to overcome those mistakes. But I would say it's going to be today. I think Drake understanding the blitz, understanding the front. Where's the pressure going to be coming from? I think mentally there's going to be a little bit more on him today. So beat the blitz, be able to identify it, and make them pay. And if you can back them off with the blitz and force them to just rush with their 4, I think it would be a good formula for success. Again, though, TJ Watt's out there. You know he's going to get going. You got to give him attention.
And those reps are going to help Drake grow, though. We talk about these live game reps helping him get comfortable in the pocket, and this will be hopefully the perfect instance.
Just a different challenge. And you wonder if the Pittsburgh coaches are looking at this saying, hey, let's man these guys up. Let's try to force him to put the ball into tight windows. It also might be more of a Pop Douglas game. We saw a pullback of him last week, didn't play as many snaps. He's a man beater. I could see him getting more attention this week.
First thing first, I want to shout out to, you are looking live at Patriots warm-ups right now. Shout out to the great Brent Musburger, who's on the CBS pregame show, and you are looking live at the Patriot warm-ups as we're going on. I'm stepping in for Mr. Perillo, so I'm going to take his key, which is tightened up with the emphasis on the defense. And if I know my friend Mr. Perillo, I think he's concerned about the leaky first 2 games. Aaron Rodgers is not the Aaron Rodgers of old. He still can spin it, as everybody likes to say. His 4 touchdowns in the opener against the Jets, I think, masked kind of a meh performance. They got to heat him up a little bit. Don't let him get outside of the pocket. He doesn't want to get hit at 41 years old. And they've got to make sure that they, it's the old basics. Stop the run. Put Rodgers in 3rd and long situations. They just got to tighten things up and play better defense than they have the first 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
That's great. I mean, these are 2 teams that are really highly ranked in terms of the amount of pressure they create. Now, it's through 2 games, so I try not to get too carried away with stats in 2 games because they'll kind of tell you bad information. I don't think the Patriots pass rush was great for 3 quarters. It was amazing down near the end when they had to, close the game out. So what's the real story? I don't think you can really play zone on Aaron Rodgers. I think he'll pick you apart.
Agreed.
You've got to get pressure on him. Doesn't have the same mobility that he used to have. So if the Patriots are able to live up to this, and I mean, I pulled some of the numbers. I mean, 5th in pressure rate with less than 4 or less guys. I mean, that's really good. That's what you want out of a defense. If you can get pressure with your front 4 and you can have 7 guys in coverage, it's a huge formula for defensive success. I'm not sure I believe that the Patriots are quite as good as that number is right now. I think they're good. I think they've been productive. But today they've got to prove it. And not having Christian Gonzalez, I think that really hurts today. I think ideally you'd love to play man. A lot of teams play man on Aaron Rodgers. Force him to hold the ball a little bit. If you're playing zone, he's going to pick you apart. So I really think if the front 4 can get pressure today, if you're able to play a little bit of man coverage with these guys, could be a formula for success against Aaron Rodgers in this offense.
Only a 2-week sample size, to your point, Deuce, but Rodgers has been sacked 7 times so far in 2 games. So I think the opportunity's there. Yeah. You just gotta win.
Yeah.
You gotta win with your pass rush.
Yep, absolutely. That's usually the case. And but just to state the case too, the coverage has got to be better. I thought that there was no pass rush that was getting home against Tua. Early in the game, he's throwing the ball in 2 seconds. It's hard to ask those guys to cause some kind of disruption. So to Paul's point, the coverage has got to be better. The linebackers have to tackle better. The safeties have to tackle better. Guys like Alex Austin, need to. It's a game of inches, and I feel like Alex Austin was an inch away a couple of times from past his defense. So Carlton Davis, like his size, maybe he's a matchup for DK Metcalf, but overall, the coverage has just got to be tighter. When they do play zone, it's got to be in sync because if it isn't, Aaron Rodgers will pick this team apart.
Point of emphasis during the week with Coach Vrabel was the tackling, who he mentioned it several times post the Miami game and just talking about that the tackling needs to be better. Hard to do, in practice in a regular season like that. They're not in full pads, although he says, we don't need, thigh pads or anything like that. But I know that there was time spent, And he said that there was time spent this week on tackling better. That's a point of emphasis for the team.
I believe it.
A lot of things to work on. My key was break the steal. Third week in a row where I tried to find a pun to use, but it's kind of a playoff of the steel curtain. Obviously, the Steelers defense nowhere near the historical one, but the Steelers allowed the third most yards in the league at this point, actually. 394.5 per game, and then fourth most points in the league at this point. So thinking about the rushing yards they allowed last week versus the Jets and even the Seahawks, nearly 150 yards per game on the ground at this point. So for the offense, running as much as you can, capitalizing on the fact that they haven't necessarily figured out their defense yet on the ground for New England, hopefully. And New England, as we know, needs to drive the ball more efficiently. And also just finishing in the red zone. We saw, obviously, week one wasn't the most ideal comparison, 1 for 3 inside of the 20-yard line for Las Vegas. So figuring out ways to not only get in the red zone, but stay there and score efficiently.
Yeah, just to follow up on some of those numbers that you were saying, Kwani, I mean, you see the 149 yards on the ground, again, only 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Those are startling numbers to see for a Pittsburgh Steelers defense. The other two that stand out to me is they're only got a sack and a half in 2 weeks. That you figure that's got to change. But we were talking about tackling with the Patriots. The Steelers are the worst. They have the biggest missed tackle rate in the league right now. Again, caveat, 2 games.
2 weeks, yeah.
But those are really uncharacteristic Steeler numbers. And I got to believe, as we're talking about point of emphasis for the Patriots in tackling, that's a big point of emphasis, I believe, down in Pittsburgh.
And exploit that. If it's going to be a trend for them, exploit it as much as you can.
A lot of ways these defenses are very similar to each other. I mean, Pittsburgh's ranked 5th in pressure rate. New England's ranked 6th in pressure rate. You know, Matt said they don't have sack. I mean, so they're getting pressure, but it's not telling all the story. And it's so easy to get fooled by early season statistics and anomalies, and a couple big plays color things a certain way. So as we get going, can the Patriots really get pressure with 4? Is TJ Watt, like Brian said, are these guys starting to slow down a little bit, or they just get a slow start to the season and they're going to start to kick in? You can't let them get hot today. But I agree with your point. The best way to do it, stay balanced, stay running. Don't just let you get down early. They're going to pin their ears back. They're going to get after the quarterback. So getting that first score, staying balanced, huge key for the Patriots offense.
So you wanted to get into some injuries. You want to get into a little bit more on the Steelers side. But before we do any of those things, I want to read a word from Bridgestone. So we're talking confidence. It's important to have that when you're on the road. And with Bridgestone tires on your car, truck, SUV, or minivan, you are riding on tires you can trust. Bridgestone tires are engineered to give you peace of mind so you can focus on enjoying the journey. So whether you're on your morning commute, a cross-country road trip, or just relaxing on a Sunday drive, Bridgestone tires will be with you wherever life's roads may lead. Bridgestone solutions for your journey, available now at Sullivan Tire.
There's Jason Tatum making an appearance.
There he is.
You were looking live at Jason Tatum.
Fresh off his Achilles rehab. Sounds like it's going well, so that'll be... I know Evan Lazar up in the press box right now.
The more famous Deuce is standing in front of him, by the way.
I take issue with that.
That's a good line, Kwani.
Thank you.
That's a very nice line.
He's just a young Deuce. I'm an old Deuce.
Right.
We Deuces stick together.
Well done.
All right. Just to jump into the inactives a little bit, not a lot from Patriots' perspective. Elijah Ponder is out, though. Keon White missed some time last week, but he will be back in. So Anthony Jennings, Keon White, couple edge pieces for the Patriots. We'll see how those guys are able to contribute. Really liked what I saw from Anthony Jennings last week. He just does what he does. You need somebody to go out there and set the edge. He's going to do it. We'll see with Keon. It seems like they're trying to give Keon every opportunity he can to find a role with this defense. I think you'd love to have a full-time third rotational edge player with Chason and Harold Landry. I don't know if anybody's really taken that by the horns just yet, but all three of those guys that I just mentioned, between White and Jennings, as well as Ponder, when he eventually gets back in there, should have an opportunity to earn that role as the season goes on.
The Steelers, they had a kid that went down this week, an offensive lineman. He's a depth guy, though, right?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
But a little bit of depth.
The big pieces that are out that were ruled out on Friday for the Steelers: Highsmith, Deshaun Elliott, their starting strong safety, as well as Joey Porter, who's been playing on the outside and allowing some flexibility to Jalen Ramsey to play inside on the slot. So definitely some injuries there for the Steelers that they'll have to deal with today.
While we're on the subject of injuries and inactives, one we already knew about, Christian Gonzalez. We actually just got an email about him from Chad in Atlanta. And he says, I really don't want to be a negative Nancy, but I seem to remember a narrative surrounding Gonzo before and after the draft claiming he was fragile, and that's why he fell to number 17. But I paid it no mind back then because I was in love with the player. But, I mean, what gives? Should we be worried? One of the greatest abilities is availability, capital avail, and he isn't available. I understand, Chad. What do you two think?
Yeah, well, I would just say, his first season, he broke his collarbone. I mean, it's not, it's just one of those things that kind of happens. Hamstrings are touchy. And look, I'd rather have Christian Gonzalez in November and December than
At 100%.
force him out there for the first couple of weeks. No question, it's disappointing. I mean, again, this I think was the first day of pads came on.
So you had to believe he was going to be inactive this week. Anybody who thought he was going to just show up Wednesday and play on Sunday, I don't think that helps the team or the player, for that matter, by doing that. He needs time, don't you think?
Yeah, and look, we'll see what his story is going to be. I don't know. Maybe he'll come back and play the rest of the season and be fine and back to all-pro level, and then I don't think anybody's going to remember the fact that he didn't play in training camp. But look, it's disappointing. He's the best player, at least on defense and maybe on your whole team. He's a huge matchup piece. He allows your defense to do so many different things. It hurts not to have him out there. But my hope is that if we come to the end of the season and we're not going to be talking about how Gonzo missed the first 3 games and, his career's ruined. So let's just hold our breath for a little bit and hope that he's, back out there tomorrow or next week maybe. And then when you get to Buffalo, maybe then he's really ready to go because that's a team they need him against for sure.
Yep.
100%. All right, well, let's take a call quickly from Patty in Agawam. Good morning, Patty. There we go.
Hey,
Patty.
Struggle with the computer, Patty.
Hey, good morning, y'all. How
Good morning.
y'all doing?
It's Agawam.
I'm not in Agawam today. I am tailgating at the stadium.
All right.
Great day for it,
Why don't you
Patty.
just walk
Good
in?
for
Come
you.
on in.
And crack one for me, please.
Live guest.
Bro, I've had like 4 for you already.
Thank you.
We're living vicariously through you.
Listen, call it a hunch, and Deuce, this is specifically for you, buddy. Call it a hunch, call it a gut feeling, call it like what I watched with the players going into the locker room this past week after the victory. I think this is going to be a big game for Robert Spillane because I've been waiting for Robert Spillane to have a big game over the first two games, and it hasn't happened. He's missed a lot of tackles, and I think he's disgusted with himself, and I think a lot of Patriots fans are a little bit disgusted with him. I'm not. I'm just waiting for him to. I'm waiting for that one game for him to settle himself, and I think this is the game.
Yeah.
The Steelers want to funnel everything to the middle because Rodgers. He might test a couple deep, but he's not like Geno. I apologize for the noise for the helicopter above, but
that's okay.
You're actually pretty clear. We hear
Mr.
you.
Kraft. It's fine.
all right. But this isn't like week 1 with Geno. Like Rodgers is not going to test us deep. He's going to test the middle, and I believe that in order for us to have a good game and for us to win today, I think Spillane has to show up, and I think he's pissed off. I'm pissed off with him. Let's freaking go, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. Thank you.
It's a good point by Patty, even if he's 4 in. Talking about Spillane, who I think is probably pretty hard on himself, and I think he picked up on that pretty well.
Yep.
I think the Dolphins did a really good job last week of getting him in space. I don't know that that's the strong point of his game. I think he's more of a, Deuce, what would you call those guys? A downhill guy that he needs to come downhill. Hopefully the guys in front of him are tying up people so that he's got a clear shot at trying to get the guy who's, running in between the tackles.
Yeah.
I guess that's where his place is the strongest. Some of those Waddle and Hill plays or Arcane when he was out in the middle of space, those aren't great matchups for Robert Spillane.
No, it's one of my biggest surprises of the early start to the season. And like you said, the video that we showed after the win last week, Mike Vrabel giving a high five to everybody coming off. Robert Spillane was having none of it. He was upset. And he knows. I mean, the guy's had over 150 tackles the last 2
Tackling
years.
machine.
I mean, he's a machine. Now, we talk about those guys are they making plays? Are they, able to make plays behind the line of scrimmage, passes defense, or are they just cleaning up the trash? Are they, 60 yards down the field making? And last couple of years, he's been a playmaker guy. So can he start to do that? I know he's hard on himself. I assume that Jaylen Warren is going to be part of the plan to try to expose him, as well as Christian Ellis, who both those guys have had trouble with tackling. That's an X factor for me for the defense. If those guys start playing well, if they start dispersing the zones correctly and getting in the right spots, getting hands on balls, making tackles for loss, think you'll really see this defense start to cook.
Yeah, good point.
All right, let's hear from Q in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Hi, Q.
Hello.
Yes.
How y'all doing this morning, man? Just want to call in. I don't have a question.
Good afternoon.
I'm
Eastern time.
From Louisiana, big Campbell fan, and a Go Patriots. That's all I wanted to say this morning. Y'all have a great day.
All right.
Thank you.
Go Patriots. And there's
right.
Harold Landry that we're taking a look at now, who's just been all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, big day for him. I mean, him and Chason, they've been as advertised. And hopefully, you know, he's going to be able to have another big game today. Get after Aaron Rodgers quick, force him to make bad throws.
All right, the most important development of the day, though, is that Paul Perillo is in the house. He made it. I'll let you get settled in, but I wanted people to know.
Has walked in.
Your voice is here.
I guess you were an international.
I outdid myself.
The national.
With stupidity for this trip.
Please tell.
Tell us all.
You know, Matt was well versed on my travel, you know, going in, and it was going to be close, right? So I just said, I don't need it to be close. I want to up the level of difficulty.
Wow.
I'm going to leave my credential home.
Oh, boy.
Genius. Overachiever.
So I can go from Logan to
God.
Peabody
Oh, my gosh.
back.
Oh, my goodness.
So
And yet he
if
still
not for
made
that,
it.
I would have made it on time.
You still made it,
But
though.
I want to apologize to everybody for my lack of professionalism,
No.
which I'm not happy with.
Your best availability is your availability, per our email we just got from.
Your best availability is availability.
Patriots-Steelers, what I missed.
They're playing them week 3. Matt was kind enough to take your key to the game and reinvent it for himself, so you don't even have to do
like
that.
It? You know, tighten.
Yeah, and I think look,
Right then.
it's an area of concern after 2 weeks. I think you nailed it, and they've got to be better. I think the head coach knows that. The coaching staff knows that. They're not going to be able to play and do the things that they want to do by giving up the kinds of, you know, Paul, you know, it's the X play now. They're the X play.
You would have liked it because I got a chance to listen to a lot of our shows coming in, and there was a lot of criticism for that term.
Yeah.
So you would have really enjoyed it.
Love it. Yeah.
The X plays.
The X plays.
But so they can't live by giving up a lot of X plays.
No.
Right. And,
need those.
you know, and that's the way the Steelers do like to play. They use a lot of 12 personnel, and
Thanks,
you know,
Krish.
they have two good tight ends, and Pat Fryermuth and now old friend Jonnu Smith. So that's why I felt like that was an area of
huge
focus for the
Covering
Patriots
those guys.
defense.
You know, I like to go down these roads. They generally don't mean anything. And I think when you talk to the coaches, they say they don't mean anything, but you bring up Jonnu Smith, which Arthur also brings up Arthur Smith, who spent a lot of time with Mike in Tennessee. Is that just a wash that they know each other? Arthur knows what Mike wants to do. Mike knows what Arthur wants to do.
Yeah,
What's that chess?
That
what's
was
that
kind of
chess
my
match
feel.
look
You know,
like?
we talked about this a little bit during the course of the week on PU, and you know, I think Vrabel's experience, you know, in the league, you know, coupled with, you know, the amount of offensive guys and former head coaches, I think that's a good coaching staff the Patriots have with Josh and you know, Todd Downing and Thomas Brown and those guys. But at the same time, you go on the other side and you have Mike Tomlin, who's been around for as long as anyone, with a former NFL head coach in Arthur Smith. So I do look at that as kind of a wash. I think there's some good coaching going on both sides of this matchup. I don't think it's going to be because one guy just gets caught completely unaware of what's going on. But, you know, stranger things have happened. We'll see.
Well, time is flying by. So before we get into the over-unders, I have a message for Pats fans. Game day is here. So it's time for you to stock up if you haven't done so already. Grab a refreshing Pepsi Zero sugared 12-pack right now because tailgating deserves Pepsi. Also, football fans, you know that traditions matter. Turning moments together into truly something epic. They're what inspire us to make our masa and Tostitos the traditional way. Starting with whole corn kernels, no artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives, and all that to give you the perfect crunch. You can discover your next tradition this football season. Just head to the store and grab your Tostitos team bag and scan the code for a chance to score an epic experience with the Patriots. Tostitos, tradition matters. Paul, you came just in time for your, I think, favorite part of the pregame show on a regular basis.
It's up there.
I would hope so.
Any game of nonsense,
Right.
you know, that requires no skill whatsoever, those are usually my favorites.
Speaking of game of nonsense, how'd the Citadel do yesterday?
Oh, I tell you, that's tough football to watch, my friend. That's the second time they've lost 38-0 this season. That's the second time they lost. Let me repeat that: 38-0 this season.
What a score!
Tough.
What do you get for that?
Tough.
I think he gets Father of the Year
demotion?
votes.
Right,
I think,
right,
he gets,
just for
I
showing
think he
up.
gets Father of the Year votes.
For your availability. All right, let's
so,
get.
all right, real quick,
Yeah.
Kwani, last
Oh
week.
yeah, last week's scores, please.
Last week, Michael, 4-2. Kwani, 3-3, and the loser. That's me, 2-4.
Oh, jeez.
You're not a loser. You are beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You look really nice yourself.
Thank you.
I
Thank you. We
appreciate
get compliments on the show.
All right. We only got
So
15
Mike and oh wait, is the show almost over?
Paul's like, I like the hour pregame. How about a half hour?
He's just getting warmed up.
I'm just clearing my throat. Mike and Kwani are 7-5 on the season. Paul's 5-7. So that's where we stand
That's where I
after
like to
2
be.
weeks of action.
7-5. Well, we need to keep up our streak. We're gonna start now with the over/unders. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
Okay. Drake May passing yards, 220.5 yards.
I go first?
I don't know.
Okay, go
I'll
ahead.
go first.
Go ahead,
I'm
Mike.
going to go over. I'm going to go over on Drake. Too much history of the Patriots throwing on the Steelers. I'll go over.
I'm going to go over as well. I think that's a pretty modest total.
Even though he disappointed us last week.
Yeah, by a half a yard. It's
Literally
still bugging
half
me.
a yard.
It's still bugging me, but
Come
I'll
on,
take the
Drake.
over.
I took the over as well. Do you want to get on this?
I was going to ask, do you want the bullpen arm?
Non-sanctioned event.
Yeah.
You want the bullpen
Are we
arm to be
scoring him?
included in this?
Sure.
Yeah, let's go over.
Okay. I'm going to just put /
All
over.
aboard on the board for over. All right, Aaron Rodgers passing yards, 230.5. I took the under on this one.
Oh, Kwani took the under.
Yeah,
I'm going to
just
take the
because.
over on that one as well.
I know I'm gonna be disappointed with myself for that one.
I'm going to go under on this one.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, the yards have not been there for Aaron Rodgers, so you guys are probably odds-on favorite.
We'll see.
Ron.
Aaron.
Hey, Ron.
What about you?
Ladies first.
I
already
took
went.
the under.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I actually pre-write all of mine now, so
let's
I
go. Let's
sneak
go
my
under.
answer in.
Let's go
Yeah?
under.
Wait,
Under?
you doing research?
Okay, so now I
Yeah.
see
No.
I'm really on a show of
She's
homers.
over-prepared. All right, up next we have DK Metcalf receiving yards. That's at 60.5.
Ooh.
So I guess I go first on this one.
Yeah, might
I
as
am going to take the over on that as well. That's another pretty modest total. I think DK Metcalf, I don't know if you guys have talked about this, he's had some success against Carlton Davis.
Oh,
Just remember last year seeing him hit that slant over the middle, and what it was last
Blown
year.
coverage.
Yeah,
Blown
against
coverage.
Seattle, went
Yeah.
70 yards
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, that's a lot of yards.
I remember that one.
One big chunk play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over on DK too. I think he'll break that total, but hopefully they can keep him contained.
For the drama, I went under.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see what this Patriots defense can do.
An over.
Non-saction.
Over, because
That's a
I
non-sack.
fear a slant and a missed tackle and a blown coverage.
I can see that happening easily. All right, Travion Henderson, rushing yards, 25.5.
Ooh.
I think we're back to you, Mike.
I'm gonna go under on that one.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be do his damage receiving. I'll go under.
that's okay.
Ramondre to carry, him to catch.
Nice.
I will take the over. Steelers have had a hard time with the run so far. I think there's enough carries to get a couple of guys over 25 yards. So I'll take the over.
I would concur with Mr. Perillo.
Yeah.
Over.
Yeah, I took the over as well for the same reasons, knowing that they
Mike's a bit of
are
a
figuring
hater.
out their defense on the ground right now.
I think this is kind of a sneaky, we talked about the rookies earlier before Perillo came back. Campbell and the guard's name, Wilson, underrated, played pretty well.
Yeah.
Travion Henderson struggled last week. I'd like to see maybe a little bit of a bounce back week for them this week, and I think he'll be a little bit more involved. Maybe has a chance and some opportunities to produce.
Like that. All right. Next up, we have total New England points. That's at 21.5.
Oh. I think it's you, Kwani.
I took the over for the sake of my next answer, obviously.
You can't tease it. Don't tease it.
Don't
Keep
tease
the
it.
surprise.
Sorry, guys.
Don't even look at him. I'm going to take the over too, ever so slightly.
Yeah,
Over.
I'm gonna take the over too.
Yeah.
Ever
Clean
so
sweep.
slightly.
Clean sweep.
Yes.
Ever so
We
slightly.
want points. We all want points this week.
That's
Well,
too
I would
much to
I
ask.
would say that,
22
that one of the
points.
reasons
that
in doing it is I don't think either of these defenses have demonstrated, the idea of let's go under on that.
Yeah.
They're both have underperformed so far over 2 weeks. You got to prove it to them to see before it happens.
100%. All right, finally, total score of 44.5. I took the over as well, obviously.
What do I got?
I just spoiled it.
Sugar plums. I'm under. I'm under.
Under?
On this.
Okay.
I'm under on this. Yeah.
Yes, I am
Just
under as
barely.
well.
That means you both don't have Pittsburgh scoring as much
That's right.
in theory.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
What about you?
Over.
Over.
Patriots
He's with
over.
me.
Over.
Steelers under.
Over, Johnny.
All right, let's get to the Sunday six-pack.
This is the Sunday six-pack, so kick back and listen.
Jay-Z's here, by the way. Does anyone want to know? Chicken Man's in the house. I don't know. It's past the thousands here. Stars, come down to Gillette Stadium.
Well,
Run into it.
I just found out Jay-Z's in the house.
Jay-Z's in the house.
I think he may have brought Jason Tatum and Deuce.
Oh, right.
I'm just going to make that up. I did see a picture of them on the internet this past week, so
So if
maybe.
they're friends,
Jay-Z going to ring the bell?
I hope so.
Ooh, that would be exciting.
I did hear a helicopter. I was walking across
That
the
might have
parking
been
lot,
him.
so maybe that was
Him
maybe
and
that was
Kraft
him.
together.
Maybe that was
It's
Jay.
your boy.
Jay.
Jay.
You're
I mean,
right.
when you're close with him, you just,
Yeah, of course.
Was
Just
B?
Jay.
No B?
Just to let,
I'm not close
You didn't
with
see
her.
B? All right.
no
So
B.
I wouldn't know.
B might be here. I see what you did there.
So last week, there is some changes here.
Oh, no.
Last week, Kwani, 4-2.
Whoa.
Okay.
Led the way. I was 3-3. Mike was 2-4. So the season total should be 7-5 for Kwani, and Mike and Paul tied at 5-7. So
He's correcting the people.
I'm just bad.
Now we're having beef with the producers, guys. I think this is gonna have to happen later.
No, this is what happens. This always happens. This is. Matt
I take
does the
Paul's word
tallies.
because
This is
I'm
what happens when
only
I'm-
because I'm leading. By the way,
just fitting that we're doing over-unders and Sunday six-pack right now. As I'm looking out of the corner of my eye, I see Brent and Jimmy the Greek on the screen. Just changed. The people who invented point spreads on TV,
Yeah.
Brent and Jimmy the Greek, classic. That's
oh
all.
my goodness.
Did you specifically request the CBS show so you could watch the NFL today?
I did it, but I
Comical, actually. All right,
Boom.
we're running out of time. Let's get into the six-pack. Of course, the 1 o'clock games are going to start with Atlanta at the Carolina Panthers. Atlanta with a negative 4.5 on that one. Under.
I'll take Atlanta.
I'm taking Atlanta.
Please. Yeah,
You're taking Atlanta by 4.5.
Yeah, tough sledding for Carolina these days.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Carolina.
I'm going to take the points. I'll take Carolina to cover.
I took Atlanta as well. What did you take?
Blackens.
The Flackens?
The Flackens.
He's taking the Flackens. All of us took the Flackens. All right. The LA Rams at the Philadelphia Eagles. That's at
Game of the day right here.
3.5 right now. Yeah.
At
Paul's
1
gonna be
o'clock.
watching
How about
this.
that?
That's going to be a
I'm
good
not
one.
happy with that.
I know.
Cuts into my red zone time.
Yeah, no,
Although I might have to do the post-game show today because, obviously I didn't do the
Gotta
pregame
make up for
show, so
pregame.
You should show for that
I
one.
should do a little extra for that one.
Right.
We're going to actually have you do an extra
Paul,
hour.
What if you do 5 to 6 by yourself?
Oh.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time.
Perfect.
I've carried the show
Hour
quite
number
often.
3 here.
Right.
Eagles by 3.5, Mike. I'm going to take Philadelphia to cover that spread. I like Philadelphia at home.
Yeah, I was gonna get a little crazy. I'm gonna go the Rams.
What?
With an upset
Kick
on
him
the
out.
road. Matthew Stafford, one last hurrah maybe.
That's what I'll be rooting for because I do
know.
like
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford.
That's right. That's why. So I can yell at you and you'll feel shame.
You might be right. I'm going to take Philadelphia as well.
Tough to pick against the Eagles with the way they've been playing. Now, it hasn't been, lights out or anything like that, but that's a good football team.
That's going to, yeah.
That's a good football team. Was there any talk this week about the tush push? I didn't hear anything.
They're gonna call
Did
it
you catch
closer.
any of that?
They're gonna call it
We got to
closer.
call it tight.
Gonna call it
right.
Like
toits.
So I understand the whole thing of not to derail this into a tush push.
You
talk,
already
but I
did it.
understand the whole thing about
I started it.
I
Sorry.
know, it's okay.
fumbles are hard because it's a pile of humanity. You can't really say should it be that much more difficult to call a false start?
No.
Why is that so hard?
I don't know, and I could understand
And they
why
constantly
Big Red
do
would
it.
be pissed, and he was.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
That is all.
Everyone picked? Up next, we have Indy versus Tennessee. Indy with 5.5.
Shall I?
Yes, you
I'll
may.
go.
You shall.
I'll take Indy on the road. I'll lay the points. Divisional
Are you
game.
reading
but
my answers?
Indy's. I mean, Daniel Jones is playing
No,
out of his
yeah,
mind right
yeah,
now.
it's insane.
No one saw that coming. I think it continues against the Titans.
Mhm.
I will take Tennessee to cover 5.5 division game road. That's a big spread on the road in a division game. I'll take Tennessee to keep it close. Keep it fair. Keep it fair.
Keep it close.
It's Daniel Jones. It's the Indianapolis Colts. Let's settle down. For a
Oh my
moment.
God.
I like the home team getting in that situation.
Okay. All right. Up next, we have Sunday
Who'd you
football. Oh, sorry. I didn't even say. I took the Colts as well. My bad.
Okay. See, that's why they don't.
I'm just skipping myself. It's my fault. I'm sorry, guys. You got that?
I do.
All right. Our historian. All right. Kansas City Chiefs versus guess who? The New York Giants. Kansas City.
By
6 on that one. I don't know
A
what's going
winless
on in
team
Kansas.
favored by 6 on the road.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
You guys know who I'm taking.
No, you'll take the Giants.
The Chiefs. I'm kidding. The Giants. Yes.
Because you're a homer.
We're back to Giants blue, I think.
I'm gonna take the Giants as well. I think the Chiefs will win the game, but I can't lay 6 points with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
In good conscience, I'll take the Giants to cover.
Wise move.
You know what? I'm gonna just make it fun. I'll take the Chiefs. I'll lay the points.
Just for the
A monster game for the Chiefs. 0-2 hasn't happened before. I think the Giants are going to play them tough. I think they'll play them tough at the Meadowlands. I don't know if they're going to win the game, but I think they'll cover that number.
All right, and then second and last, we have the Detroit Lions at the Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh.
This was a hard one to
That's a good
decide
game.
between.
Really good game.
Ravens by 4.5.
It's gonna be Red Zone Paul. in
Right.
This one.
Just glued.
No, that's Monday night.
Monday night.
Come on.
I'll take the Ravens. I'll lay the points.
I wanted to take the Ravens, but I went with Detroit for the drama and the plot. We'll see how they can.
Yeah, I'll
do
take the
against
Ravens
Baltimore.
too. The Lions need to win a game like this before I pick them in it.
Yeah.
They seem like they lose these kinds of spots. They got blasted the last time they were in Baltimore a couple
Tough
years ago.
start for Meathead continues. I like the Ravens in this game. And
Yeah.
if the Eagles aren't the best team in football, the Ravens might be. Although Buffalo would have something to say about that.
Of course. All right,
Sounds
last
like
but
me
not
picking Patriots games. Just pick everything.
Nah, it's only 3. Settle down.
all right, best for last, guys. Steelers at Patriots right here at Gillette Stadium. Pittsburgh with 1.5.
Ooh, I'll jump in first. I got the Patriots today. I like how this is lining up. They've got to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers, though, force him into mistakes, stay balanced. Again, I think the game boils down to Drake May, his ability to handle the pressure, to be able to fit the ball into tight windows. Steelers, I expect, will spin the dial on him and try to make it tough and take advantage when you can to run. That's the one thing. When you catch them in man coverage and everybody's going downfield, don't hesitate to tuck and run and pick up some key downs that way. So I'm going to take the Patriots, 23-17, not easy battle, right down to the end.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Patriots. I think mainly because both of these teams have yet to figure out their identity on defense. And so, like you said, this is a great opportunity for Drake May to continue to figure out his offense scheme in general, but also run the ball, get the points that you can get, hopefully, against Pittsburgh.
I'm going to continue my fraudulent ways and have a pick on Monday and then change it by the time we get to the end of the
back
week.
to the Monday pick?
No, I'm back to the Patriots. I opened with Pittsburgh on Monday on our shows, and the reason for that is I thought the defense would be better. At the time, truth be told, I got caught being unaware. Didn't realize the Steelers were missing 5 starters on defense. So I'm going to take the Patriots 23-20.
Clean sweep.
Clean sweep.
It's a big boy game for the Patriots. Last week was a big boy game. Now they got to do it at home. They got to try to build some momentum and carry a little bit of that from Miami. Clean up the pre-snap penalties. Play tight. Don't turn the ball over, and they can come away with a win.
All right, we're hitting the time, but I think we might have time for a call with Nelson in LA. Hi, Nelson.
What up, guys? How y'all doing today?
Hey, Nelson.
We're feeling good.
Don't hang up on me now.
I won't, but you're running close on time.
28 to 21. And my girl, she's a Steelers fan, and she says she's going 21. She's going the same way, 28 to 21.
Good luck to the relationship. All right, you know what? Let's get to Ray in Atlanta. Ray, keep this short, please.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Hey, Ray. Fantastic.
I'm going to keep this short, and all I want to see is them be very effective on both sides. Look, offense needs to run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. They just need to do that. Just run the ball. Throw a little here, throw a little there. I get it, but run that ball and be effective at that. Defense, keep on doing what you're doing. Sack City, knock them out the park. Knock them down like bowling ball pins. That's all I got to say. Great game today.
Thank you so much, Ray. Run the ball, run the ball. Final thoughts before we go see what's going to actually happen?
I mean, my biggest focus is the home game, getting back on track at home. And that's what I think we spent all last week talking about how hard it is to win in Miami, what a challenge it has been down there. And your bigger challenge has almost been at home over the last couple of years. So I know this has been a big part of Mike Vrabel coming in here, wanting to host home playoff games. They got to start winning at home. They got to start playing their best football at home, and hopefully they're able to close it out at the end. What I'd really love to see today is just really great, sharp performance from the offense at the end, especially the ability to close the game out if they have the opportunity. But that, to me, is my focus with Drake, finding that clutch, close the Steelers out if you have the chance today.
Got to find a way to get after Rodgers. Make him uncomfortable. He doesn't want to get hit anymore. He's not going to hang in the pocket, hold on to the ball. He's just either going to dump it off or he's going to take the sack. I think that's the key to shutting down Pittsburgh's offense.
Win at home. Win at home. It's got to start.
All right, before we go, I just have to quickly read this email. They said, did they really make Grams drive all the way home? How long have you been working there? I just needed to leave you on that note. But I think this person was on your side, by the way. All right, so before we go, nothing says football season like firing up the grill in the backyard and having a cookout. And the best cookouts have the best looking lawns, the lawns that are cut with Aaron's mower. Aaron's, the official lawnmower of the New England Patriots, is proud to help Patriots fans get back to football. You can visit www.aarons.com to find your errands. Thank you all for watching the Patriots pregame show. For Matt and Deuce and the Paul Perillo who made it, I'm Kwani Lunis. We'll be back here right after the game with all your post-game analysis. Thanks for watching.
Hey, this is Evan. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure to like us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, make sure to follow on the New England Patriots YouTube channel to see this show and everything else we do here at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.